Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Recher podcast. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday, whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. And if you've noticed in the last couple of days, some of these videos that I've been putting out, especially the ones after the game the other day at Raymond James Stadium on Sunday, unbelievable. So thank you all for the love and the support. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube as well. A great show for you guys today on the program. We'll get into it all, including the status of Emeka Egbuka and some of our other Buccaneers who could be in position to play. I said it Sunday originally when I was putting out all of the social media stuff to prepare for the show, but Monday Night Football, baby. Let's not forget Monday Night Football next Monday, 6 days away in the Motor City. The Detroit Lions hosting our Tampa Bay Buccaneers, two of the better teams in the National Football League. That should be a good one. We know now Brian Branch, their all-star, all-pro, I don't think he was an all-pro, Pro Bowler safety. He's going to be out for his actions after the game the other night against the Kansas City Chiefs. No surprise there. 1 game suspension for Brian Branch. But to me, it is what it is. If we've learned anything from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, it's that next man up mentality, and that's what the good teams do. And Detroit is certainly one of those teams that I consider a good team in the National Football League. Great stuff going on here on the program today. We'll talk some Buccaneers football. We'll also talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning picking up their first win of the season yesterday in Beantown against the Bruins. We'll talk about that, but because it was a little different than I think a lot of people thought it was going to look like. And yeah, we'll get into that. 12:30 today, Matt Matera from Pewter Report is going to join us on the program to talk all about our 5-1 Bucks. At 1 p.m. today, 1 p.m., the voice of our USF Bulls, Jim Louk, is going to join us on the program to talk about our USF football team, USF athletics as a whole, and the big announcement that he made yesterday that he will be retiring from broadcasting football after the season. What an incredible career for Jim Louk with the University of South Florida. And I know a lot of people were reaching out to me yesterday. What does that mean for you? Blah, blah, blah. Jim Lighthall is going to take his place. And Jim Lighthall, who absolutely crushes it. He's a good friend of mine. He is the leading man for men's basketball for USF and also the leading guy for the pre and post game for football. So just a natural ascension for him. Does that mean, possibly I can slide into some more stuff for USF? Maybe. I'm definitely open to it. I know a lot of people are reaching out. And the fact that when an announcement like that is made, to have so many people reach out, it's incredibly humbling. And I'm very thankful for the love and the support. You guys know how much I love USF. So if I can do more stuff with them in the future, I'm definitely down. Definitely down. I'm sure I'm going to do some more baseball and softball in the spring. Now that my schedule's a little bit, different now, full year out of the radio business or almost a full year out of the radio business. Hopefully going to do more things with South Florida. Rob Higgins knows he's got my number, baby. So very excited to see what the future of USF holds. I was just listening to Alex Golich's press conference over there at the indoor practice facility, and he was asked by Joey Knight about, people having his name involved with some of these conversations for these vacancies across the college football landscape. And he's just so focused on what's going on with the green and gold. It's hard for him to kind of look outside and realize what's going on with the world. And I get that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not immune to the fact that, some of these big jobs that are out there that are, they give you these contracts and, they can fire you and you can have $49 million in the payout, like we saw with James Franklin. Who wouldn't want that, right? But there's also something endearing about a place like University of South Florida where you can build something. I mean, think about it. Look at all the things that Jim Leavitt has been through. people still hold him on such an incredible high pedestal because of what he was able to do with the football program, getting him the number 2 in the country. Can you imagine if Alex Golesh wins a conference championship here? Can you imagine if Coach Alex Golesh gets USF to the college football playoff this year? I mean, he's going to go down in the record books as the best football coach in the history of this program, and maybe one of the best coaches that we've seen, even though there's a lot of good ones. So we'll see. We'll see. But all I can tell you out there, regardless of what the future holds with anything, but especially with South Florida, let's enjoy it. Enjoy it right now, man. No, tomorrow isn't promised to anybody. So let's enjoy it right now. USF having a heck of a season. Homecoming coming up this weekend. And one challenge that Coach Alex Golesh said during his press conference is he wants to get everybody out there for homecoming. And I'm hoping that you can be out there too. 15, 16, 17, 18. Saturday night, 7:30, homecoming against Florida Atlantic. Let's pack that baby out. Lightning are on the road. Bucks are playing Monday night. Come on. There's nothing. It doesn't matter. Lightning are on the road. They're not home until next week. Everybody get out there. Go usfbulls.com. Go get your tickets. This is the time. You know, a lot of times people are like, I don't know about USF. They're a great team, man. Get out there and support. Go usfbulls.com. Go get your tickets. Tell everybody. Bring your friend. Bring your neighbor. Bring your mailman. Bring your dentist. Everybody's got to get out there. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. Of course, you want to get in on the show. Here's the video link in the chat. So whether you're on the phone, whether you are on your laptop, streamyard.com/TBAIEZKTUP. Just click on the link in the chat and you can join in on the conversation. David Terry here in the house. Number 1 Bolts finally got us a win. We'll get to that in a second. Janet Best, Dolan G, Lady Evil. Can't believe the Bucks are number 1 today in Stephen A's list, and Drew Brees agreed with them, which all, of course, doesn't mean anything at all. That's a good one. GP Smith, the Bruins lose. All is right with the world when Boston loses. That's what my grandfather said many years ago, and I could not agree more. Nancy Caro in the house. Hey, hi, Jay. Happy Tuesday. How about them Bulls? You got that right. Eddie Harada might hit the over in total goals for tonight's game. Kucherov, don't love me no more. And then our guy, Nathan Elliott, here in the house. Yeah, Nikita Kucherov, pretty wild. We'll talk about that in a second. We're waiting on word about Emeka Egbuka. Going through the MRI today, and we remember, and let's not forget, Thursday, 12:30, the EverHealth injury report with Dr. Carlos Rodriguez joining us on the program. We will ask him about the injury to Emeka Egbuka, that hamstring injury, the different grades, the grade 1, the grade 2, the grade 3. What is going to work? I mean, how long is he going to be out? I highly doubt that he'll be ready for the game Monday night against the Detroit Lions. Does it help that it's an extra day? Yes. But, man, just taking your time and not rushing it back. And Ian mentioned this, and if you missed it, we had a really great conversation yesterday, Ian Beckles and I, about the situation with injuries and how if you're 3-3, you might rush people back. You might get into a situation where you feel like you have to get that guy back in the lineup. But for us, like, when you look at this Buccaneers team, why? I mean, why rush a guy back? Knowing that your goal isn't to have the best record in week 6. And it's great. Listen, it's great to be 5-1. I'm not taking it for granted, and I don't think anybody out there should either. But the goal of this Buccaneers team is not to go 5-1 through 6 games. The goal isn't to have Baker Mayfield, as of right now, being the odds-on favorite for MVP of the National Football League. That's not the goal. The goal is not to just make the playoffs. The goal for this team is to make a long playoff run deep into the postseason and battle for a Super Bowl. I don't think that's unrealistic for a team that's won the division year in, year out for the last 4 years. Can they do it again? Hell yeah. You watched the game last night with Atlanta, and I thought Atlanta looked pretty good against the Bills. The Bills just don't look very good. If Josh Allen isn't the best player on the field, I don't know, man. There's something about that team. And you know what's crazy? When you look at this Buccaneers squad, they're 5-1. The only other 5-1 team in the league is the Indianapolis Colts. Who saw that coming? But when you look at the Bucs schedule coming up, we know going to Detroit, going to New Orleans, but they got a matchup in a couple of weeks on November 16th, a 1:00 kick in Buffalo against the Bills. And that was such a daunting task. It was such a game that I had to. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucs went into Buffalo and just smacked the Bills. I don't like how their team looked the last couple of weeks. And once again, if you get into a situation where Josh Allen is not comfortable, you take him out of there. The rest of the offensive weapons don't scare me. The defense, when you go out there, like, it's not the same defense that we saw a couple of years ago. Ian brought up the point yesterday. Let's play it for you guys, because I want you guys to realize. All right, here. This is what Ian and I were talking about yesterday on the show. And we were discussing about who the best team in the NFL is, and if it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I want you to listen to what Ian said at the end of what we were saying. Listen to the end of what he said when he was talking about Lamar Jackson. Make sure you kill that like button, guys and gals. Here we go. Ready? Right now, Buccaneers the best team in the NFL?
Yeah. And I think it's because of Baker, first and foremost, and because of how they're doing it, okay? Because if they were full strength, I'd be like, okay, but their ceiling would be, they'd be hitting this. The Bucs are not close to the ceiling right now. There's no way. There's no way you can't tell me that they're not better with Mike Evans and not better with, and Godwin, we don't know what Godwin's coming back, okay? But now we're talking about Egbuka being out. If these guys can figure out a way to beat Detroit with, because yesterday we had our fifth wide receiver was a 1. Fifth. So how do you win games like that?
The number one reason why I'm so high in the Bucs is because of the complementary football. 1 week it's the offense, 1 week it's the defense, and they just find a way to win, Beck. And that's the hardest thing to do in the NFL, is finding a way to win. And the Buccaneers, week after week, regardless of the opponent, regardless of whether it's at home or on the road, they just do it.
And some other teams, and you say, well, we're playing the Ravens. Okay, let's say Lamar's healthy. We got to make sure Lamar doesn't get out of the. But if you say we're playing the Buccaneers, who do you have to be worried about? I can't even think of a name. It's just the team. It's just the team, and the fact that they play hard. And Baker's going to be the guy. Okay, don't let him do this and that. But I don't know if you could stop Baker from being Baker at this moment. And situationally, when people are talking about him being the MVP, and Jay, I got no homer in me. Who's he going against right now? Who is he going against? And he checks every box. And if you're watching Buccaneer football right now, yesterday, that one run yesterday, I look and I go, if this was college, that would win him the Heisman.
So listen to what Ian had to say there about stopping Lamar. This is the same thing for Josh Allen. Stopping those guys. And once you stop them, what happens? They become very one-dimensional. And it's just, they're not the same. They're not the same. What do you take away from the Buccaneers? And again, I saw something with Greg Allman earlier, and we'll have him on the show here next week, about point differential. And I told you guys, point differential is the biggest crock of shit. Goal differential, run differential. It doesn't mean anything. That is a useless stat. The Buccaneers at this point had a much better point differential last year, but their record in one run or 1 point or one possession games sucked. What would you rather have? Well, it's not an accumulation. You don't get anything more. There's no tiebreaker. This isn't soccer where the goals against or your goal differential is the tiebreaker. It's not. It doesn't matter. It's what your record is. It comes down to wins and losses. I don't care how it looks like. You're 5-1. That's the most important thing. This team goes out there and wins. And they find different ways to do it. They find different ways to go out there and to finish on more points than the other team. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing that they have, that winning mentality. Couldn't be more impressed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they just got to keep it going. You got to keep stacking. And that's something that if you watch the videos from the locker room at the end of games, Todd Bowles keeps talking about, keep stacking. Keep stacking. You never know who's going to be the guy that's going to show up. 1 week it could be Tez Johnson. 1 week it's going to be Cam Johnson. And I don't know if you guys caught this on the program yesterday, but I want to mention this once again because not enough people are giving enough love to Jason Light and his crew. If you missed this on the program, yes, I wanted to play for you guys one more time. The job that Jason Light and his crew have done with this team, it's remarkable. It's remarkable. Because as much as we give love to a guy like Baker Mayfield, and deservedly so, it's the depth. The depth of this team is the key. So, hold on. So here's what I had to say yesterday about Jason Light. Let's show some love right here, right now to General Manager Jason Light, his front office guys and gals, and the scouting department for the Buccaneers. They have had this uncanny ability to unearth gems, especially after the second round in the draft. And some of these undrafted free agents too. Light and company, they're out here playing chess while everybody else is crying about their checkers. Just look at the game yesterday. Rachaad White, a third-round pick in 2022, an absolute force. Where would this team be after the Bucky Irving injury without Rachaad White? How about another third-round pick in 2023? Yaya Diaby with a couple of sacks yesterday. We've been talking a lot about pressures and turning them into sacks. Yaya had one of his best games of the year. It doesn't stop there. Think about it. Who scored a touchdown yesterday? An undrafted player from 2023, Sean Tucker out of Syracuse. Cam Johnson, an undrafted player from 2024 out of Barton College. I mean, think about that. 2 undrafted free agents. There's other teams out there that are cutting their draft picks. Cutting the draft picks that they made in that year, just a waste of a selection. And Jason Light and his crew out here are picking these guys up after the draft, bringing them here into the Tampa Bay organization, working with these guys, coaching them up, and then they contribute to a huge victory yesterday over the San Francisco 49ers to push the Bucs to 5-1. And then look at the 2025 draft. A lot of noise, and deservedly so, around Emeka Egbuka, the first-round pick. But look at the third-round pick, Jacob Parrish. He is the true representation of, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but it's the size of the fight in the dog. That kid, he's got no fear whatsoever. He makes plays all over the field. And then how about Elijah Roberts, the 5th-round pick? Half a sack yesterday. He's getting better and better and better. Todd Bowles showed him a lot of love after the game yesterday. And then what more can you say about Tez Johnson, the 7th-round pick out of Oregon? The incredible catch, the fantastic celebration. Anybody could have had these guys. So for all the love that Baker and the dogs like Vita Vea and Tristan Wirfs and Evans and God, listen, they deserve it. They've earned it. Let's not forget about Jason Light and crew and all that they've done, because the depth of this team is another huge reason why they're sitting at 5-1 right now. Best record in the NFC. Couldn't have said it better myself. But that's what it is, man. The depth of this team. You just don't know who's going to be able to contribute to the victory. You don't have to, as great as Baker has been. And Baker's going to be the odds-on favorite for MVP. No doubt about it. He is right now. But it's not just him. It's everybody. And Jason Light deserves a ton of credit. Todd Bowles deserves a ton of credit. Zach Levine, MVP. Ice Cube Jones, what's going on, buddy? Christopher Cole, Josh Allen played crap. He certainly did. Buccaneers rarely get love from the national media. Ice Cube, you're on. You're on it. You are on it, but they're starting to get more and more. Bills and Falcons have a lot of injuries, but Atlanta depth is better than the Bills depth. Buccaneers got a bunch of injuries too. You don't hear them. Not saying you are, but you don't hear them complaining at all. Tampa Bay Lightning pick up a win yesterday. First win of the season in Game 3 up there in Boston against the Bruins. They hang on to defeat the Bees. They were up 3-0 in that game very early in the second period. Yanni Gourde scored after a pair of Anthony Cirelli goals. Pontus Holmberg. And if you were listening to the show yesterday, Pontus Holmberg was the guy that was catching my wrath. And I said, Pontus Holmberg, I don't see anything from this guy through 2 games. So I don't know if he got the message. I don't know if he was listening to the show. I don't know if somebody gave him a heads up. But my man Pontus Holmberg looked like a stud yesterday on the ice. So good for him. Good for him. I still not thrilled with the defense. You look at one of the goals yesterday. Eric Chernak pinching at the end of his shift, knowing that see, in a situation like that, if you're Chernak, he's got to know better, and that's why John Cooper was flipping out on the bench. You're at the end of your shift. Your 3 guys are down low. They're tired. You know that a guy's not going to be able to cover for you on defense if you pinch along the wall there. He pinches, the puck gets past him 2-on-1, and they end up scoring. Like, that's a veteran move. I mean, that's a veteran defenseman making a rookie move. He knows better than that. You got to be more aware of your surroundings. When you win that game yesterday, you win it in a fashion where Jonas Johansson is in net, Lightning back in action tonight in D.C. in Nation's capital against Alexander Ovechkin, and the Capitals, Andrei Vasilevsky, we would assume will be between the pipes with JoJo getting the start yesterday. JoJo looked ugly. It looked ugly there in the second, but he finished strong, made some saves, and the numbers didn't end up looking too bad. 30 saves, I think, on 33 shots. And I know he scored 2 the opening night, but Kucherov doesn't seem like he's firing on all cylinders quite yet. And I don't know how Nikita Kucherov's game is going to age, right? Because we know that, like, he gives up the puck sometimes. Sometimes he has like just a kind of a laissez-faire type of attitude, and I'm not going to get all emotional and upset about it today. And if you see me in the past, because I feel like he shouldn't be free from catching criticism from people here in the Tampa Bay area just because he's such a great offensive player. Because that's almost like, well, Jameis threw for 5,000 yards, threw for 30 touchdowns, but he also threw 30 picks, right? Just because there's not a flagrant, transparent defensive statistic in hockey like giveaways, Kucherov, I think, flies under the radar when it comes to criticism. And when you call that stuff out, people go, yeah, well, he does this and he does that and he does. I get it. Nobody understands that more than me. But I think his overall disposition at times can improve. I think that he needs to take care of the puck a little bit better instead of just so carelessly handing the puck to the other team. Because that stuff is contagious. And we look at how Mike Evans and Levante David and how guys like that and how they've aged gracefully and how they're still able to contribute at their age. And I just wonder, I'm curious about that, how Kucherov's game is going to age as he gets a little bit older. But we did see something yesterday that I've been calling for a year and for months now, was we saw a couple of shifts with Connor Geekie with Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point, which I like that. I like that. Because you saw the move right to left, and then Geekie goes around to the left. He brings a different element of speed and size and toughness, and he's got that shoot-first mentality. They need that. They need a guy like that. As much as the situation, you put Hagel on that line, which is good because he's a grinder. He helps in that way, but Hagel's not a shooter. When you say shooter, I don't think Hagel's the first guy that comes to mind. Grinder, fantastic 200-foot forward, a guy that doesn't need to score points on the man advantage to be successful. But when you look at a guy like Geekie and you look at what they want him to be, they want him to shoot the puck. And you're a guy that if you look at Point and Kucherov, so much attention is going to go to him. And we look at how many big-time goals that Andre Palat were able to score through the years, and a lot of times it's because they were focused on Johnson and Kucherov or Point and Kucherov. You need a guy that's going to be able to shoot that puck when it's on his stick, be able to play that fast game with them. Maybe not skate as fast, but be able to play the game fast. I think Geekie in that youthful exuberance, again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. That's the first line I want. I want Gensel on line 2 with Cirelli and Hagel, and then when Paul comes back, line 3, and then go from there. Yeah, Eddie, you see what I'm saying, buddy. As a non-Tampa Bayer, Cooch seems like he has a tendency, albeit rare, where he phones it in for a night and then has multiple points the following game. Yeah, I mean, you look at the overall points, and when it's all said and done, you're like, oh, he had 27 points in 20 games. He played fantastic. But if you watch it on a night in, night out basis, it's almost accepted. It's almost accepted. That's just the way he is. It's going back to the old Boston Red Sox thing. That's Manny being Manny, with Manny Ramirez, one of the greatest right-hand hitters of all time. But some of the quirks and idiosyncrasies that he had, you just kind of lived with it because he was such a great offensive player and produced so much. Same thing with Nikita Kucherov. You kind of live with some of the warts in his game because he's such a high-level offensive player, and he works so hard at his craft. But, you look at it, and when Kucherov has been one of the guys wearing the A on his jersey, this team has not made it out of the first round, right? This team has not made it out of the first round without Steven Stamkos. It's more than just what happens on the ice. It's the leadership. It's, there's so much that goes into it, right? It's the tangible stuff and the intangible stuff. And that's why when you look at the game yesterday, what I really loved to see was some of the better players were Anthony Cirelli, 2 goals for him. His effort is never going to wane. It's never going to dissipate whatsoever. He's such a fantastic hockey player. And even though he was terrible with the faceoffs, I don't know. I don't know what the deal with the faceoffs are. It's just been a bugaboo for this team. It's got to get better. And that's why you wonder if Jack Finley is a guy that, he came out of the lineup last night or yesterday, and we saw that Curtis Douglas was in, but I didn't really notice Curtis Douglas making that much of an impact. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with me there. I think Jack Finley's got to be in the lineup, man. You got to have a guy out there that can win draws because the faceoffs it's been a huge bugaboo for this team. I'm still mad at Pastrnak for making that save in the third. What a play. What a play. I was thinking last night. Let's look it up. How good would David Pastrnak look in a Tampa Bay Lightning uniform? Pretty good. How much money is he making? 11.25 until 31, until he's 35 years old. Whoa, dude. The cap is going up. They need that big right-handed shot. I know they got Oliver Bjorkstrand, but if I told you that you could have David Pastrnak or Oliver Bjorkstrand, I think we all agree who we would take. I do know that Pastrnak loves playing with Kucherov. They put them together in the All-Star game. It did not work because neither one of those guys were like, oh, defense? What's defense? I don't give a crap about defense. And I asked David Pastrnak at the All-Star game years ago in South Florida, I said, who's your favorite number 88? He goes, that guy over there. And he pointed to Andrei Vasilevsky. We saw Brad Marchand get traded to the Florida Panthers. I know that they signed Pastrnak to a long-term deal to hope that he could be that guy as part of the rebuild, right? The reload. But still, you look at their roster, it's going to be tough for Boston. It's going to be tough. And listen, they play hard. Don't get me wrong. They still have, good goalie, even though he didn't play in the game yesterday. Swayman, you have Charlie McAvoy, a good American defenseman, and some good young talent. I mean, Morgan Geekie looked good yesterday. Mason Lowry, the defenseman playing with Charlie McAvoy, I thought he was the best guy on the ice for either team yesterday. That dude was a beast. But if I'm the Lightning and that proposition comes up to me, would you make a run at David Pastrnak? I would do something. I would find a way. I would trade some whatever picks you got left. I would trade away some of the young talent. I would trade some of the guys off the roster. Because now you have a guy with an absolute hammer on that wing for the power play, something that we haven't seen since Steven Stamkos. I mean, really, in the last 10 years, the only 4 guys that would really fit with this Lightning power play has done when it's at its peak is obviously Steven Stamkos, obviously Alexander Ovechkin, Mika Zibanejad for the Rangers, and David Pastrnak. Now, could Zibanejad be a guy? If the Rangers fall, I mean, the Rangers look pretty good early on this season, but Zibanejad went from being a first-line center to now he's like a second-line right winger. They traded away his best friend in Chris Kreider. I always thought Mika Zibanejad with the Swedish ties, Victor Hedman. I thought Zibanejad, that if you tell me that Mika's a guy that you can slot in your middle six, I said this on the program yesterday. We talk about where guys slot in. If you're a middle six forward, I want you playing on the third line. I want my second line to be guys that should be on another team's first line. Mika Zibanejad, keep an eye on that name. Zibanejad, Pastrnak, give me something. But the Lightning finally get off the schneid. They get the win. Thank God. All right. Enough hockey. We'll get back to that in a little bit. Let's talk some football, and we're going to do it with our guy, the last real champion, Matt Matera from Pewter Report. Matty4_Matera. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Doing well, Jay. Thank you for having me on your show. How's everything with you?
Good, man. I feel as good as John Cena and AJ Styles in their match at Crown Jewel. I thought it was one of the greatest matches that we've seen in a while. The love letter to professional wrestling with all those moves. Like, it made you smile, man. It made you smile. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
I legitimately gasped when he was on the ground and then did the choke slam with the Undertaker, because I was thinking eventually we were going to get the RKO going back to the Sami Zayn match. And everybody was chanting it. If he would have pulled off the 619, and I don't,
oh my God.
I mean, I think John Cena's got to be in a warehouse right now, like practicing that for his next match. But if he could do that one, that would be sick. But that was truly a fantastic match and so much fun to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's why matches like that are like, that's why I watch wrestling. It's a wrestling fan thing. It makes you feel like a kid, and you just don't know what's next. We don't know what's next for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but we do know that they're 5-1, the best record in the NFC, tied with the Colts for the best record in the National Football League. But the big news, and we're waiting, and we haven't heard an update quite yet, Matt Matera, is Emeka Egbuka and his status for the game Monday night against the Detroit Lions. And just watching him walk off the field. I mean, we know with the hamstring injuries, it's not like these guys are going to be, incapacitated where they're going to be wheelchaired off the field now. But I mean, what's your gut telling you when it comes to Emeka, in or out for the game on Monday? Because I'm kind of leaning towards out.
I'm leaning towards out as well. I've had it with these hamstring injuries. They've played the Buccaneers, especially at the wide receiver position, since like 2019 when Bruce Arians first showed up. And isn't it wild that we're going to go into week 7 of this season, and it's been a very fun season with the 5-1 Bucs, but we have yet to see Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, and Chris Godwin Jr., and for that standpoint, Jalen McMillan as well. We've yet to see them all together on the field at the same time. My gut feeling says that they're going to hold out Emeka Egbuka for this game because it's more likely that Mike Evans comes back. So they'll still have their number one wide receiver, but this time it's Mike versus having it be Emeka Egbuka the past couple of games.
Yeah, and it'd be good to get Mike back. Well, the hamstring injuries, man. People are blaming like the training staff. Like, there's just so many injuries around the NFL, Matt, right? I was saying this in the press box the other day. I go, the NFL has really turned into, forget about thriving. It's more about surviving, right? Just try to make sure that your best players don't get injured, because if not, like, your season's going to hell in a handbasket anyway. We think Baltimore is very, one of the teams that have the most depth in the league, but you lose Lamar on one side and Roquan Smith on the other side. Like, they're sitting with 1 win on the season.
I know, it's insane. And I don't know what the right answer is, because not that I'm a back in my day type of guy, but 15 years ago, there was 2-a-day training camps. Like, I remember playing high school football and having 2-a-days and stuff like that. And it seems like guys didn't get as hurt as much, even though they're practicing more and there's more physical contact. And I get why they've taken away a lot of the practices and the amount of time that players can go out and practice. A lot of it's player safety. A lot of it's just avoiding lawsuits in general. But now you have all these strength and conditioning teams. And there's so much medical science out there about how to be best prepared to play. And everyone's bigger, faster, stronger. And yet there's more soft tissue injuries. Certainly some injuries are like freak accidents, like Chris Godwin Jr.'s injury last season. But yeah, I don't know. The Bucs have tried different practice times. They've tried different setups. They've had walkthrough practices, and yet players still get injured. There's not a perfect answer, but I don't blame the strength and conditioning staff or the medical staff.
Yeah, you would think there were less, right? You would think there'd be less injuries with all the information that we have out there. And shout out to our guy Chan with the $5 super chat. Pewter Report is goated. You got that right, buddy. Chan, you are the best. We appreciate it. All of our friends over there at Pewter Report. Of course, Scott Reynolds and the crew, Matt Matera, Adam Savon, Josh Capo, Bailey Adams. Did I forget anybody? I got everybody, I think.
Yeah.
Danny Morales to get him on there too.
Daniel Morales on the Pewter Game Day show. Yeah.
There you go, buddy. How was the Pewter Game Day show? You missed being at Ray J?
There's positives and negatives to both. I love being at Raymond James Stadium where, the Bucs are winning. The crowd is great. You get to do the post-game press conference with Baker, and Baker's always going to say something wild, which is a lot of fun. I was there for the Bucks Jets game, and you got to talk to guys in the locker room after the game. And when the team is 5-1, you're typically talking to a very happy group. But then doing the game day show is fun as well. We kind of like do our own play-by-play with it. I enjoy doing play-by-play. And all these games have been so chaotic that it gives a good opportunity to make some good and fun calls. And we're very interactive with everybody in the chat as well. So there's definitely positives to both. I enjoy doing both and kind of mixing it up.
What do you say about Baker Mayfield, Matt? I mean, this guy, I don't know if anybody could really have seen this coming with the quote unquote the competition with Kyle Trask a couple of years ago.
Yeah, right.
We're sitting there charting passes and shit in the preseason. But man, like I know Jason Light loved the guy. I know Todd Bowles, right? You like the veteran guy that's been in there, chip on his shoulder, right? You love the relationship that he has with the offensive line. I don't know if anybody saw this coming. Year 3 in this offense, he's the odds-on favorite for the MVP through 6 weeks. This saga, this Baker Mayfield journey has just been absolutely incredible.
The way that he is able to elevate his game season by season since he's come to Tampa has been most fascinating to me. Because I thought there was going to be a time where, like, maybe last season was going to be where he plateaued. And I still think the Bucs would be fine and they'd be a really good team. But the fact that he's thrown all of these touchdown passes, has all of these highlight plays, and just one interception, he's the heartbeat of this team. He wills this team to victory. And I don't think there's a better example than his 3rd and 14 run that he got for a first down. Just having the IQ to stick the ball right over the marker to get the first down. You talk about the last real champion. He's the people's champion. He is the closest thing to what a quarterback is to Stone Cold Steve Austin in the height of Stone Cold Steve Austin, just taking the world by storm. Every national pundit is talking about Baker now. The career resurgence is super cool as well. But, it's gone from, oh, this is a nice story to this guy is the real deal and, should be the MVP through the first 6-7 weeks of the season. It's so much fun to watch. It's winning football, and he's getting the job done. He's the heartbeat of this team, and Tampa Bay loves him for it.
Matt, I can't let that go by without bringing up I can't let that go by without bringing it back up. Baker Mayfield is this generation. Baker Mayfield is to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFL as Stone Cold Steve Austin is to the WWE during the Attitude Era, right? Look at Jake Cobian here. Baker 316 says, "I just kicked your ass."
Think about it. So Baker throws that touchdown to Cameron Johnson. He got hit. It was like a bang play. I don't think it would have been. I forgot if there was a call on it, but regardless, Baker gets right back up and starts jawing at the defender that hit him. He makes that big run against the Texans. Oh, my ankle hurts. Screw that. Screw you, CJ Gardner-Johnson. Like, he's going to go out there. He's going to whip your ass, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say. It's the closest thing to it. And there's videos of Baker shotgunning beers and stuff like that, also like Stone Cold Steve Austin. So everybody is obsessed with Baker the way it was Austin 316. There's somebody in the comments the other day when I brought this up. They were saying Baker 813 because of we're in the 813 area. So I kind of like that too. If people want to start making the t-shirts,
I like that. So love the comparisons. Baker Mayfield to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is stomping a mud hole in the competition. He's got to do something on the sidelines now with like 2 Gatorade things crashing. He's got to do something, right?
And you think about the shirt that Stone Cold had that said F Fear. I mean, is that not Baker Mayfield running for his life, getting the first down, making plays? He's fearless. He's fearless Baker Mayfield.
Stone Cold Baker Mayfield. And that's the bottom line because Baker Mayfield said so. We're on to something, buddy. We are certainly on to something.
Yeah,
I mentioned this on the show yesterday. I wanted to get your opinion because I know you follow this team so closely. I had to show love to Jason Light yesterday on the program. I mean, you're watching the game the other day, and you're like, Rachaad White, 3rd round pick. Yaya Diaby, 3rd round pick. Jacob Parrish, and just looking at the guys, all right, Emeka Egbuka, everybody's talked about how great he is. And yeah, he's been fantastic this year. But you're looking at Jacob Parrish and Elijah Roberts and Tez Johnson, and then 2 undrafted guys and Sean Tucker and Cam Johnson scoring touchdowns. It's what an incredible 180. And I think that's part of the reason why Jason Light loves Baker so much and why he wanted to give him a chance. Jason knows, like he knows that people looked at him and go, dude, Aguayo, really? Looking at some of these other picks, like he got an opportunity from the Glazers to be able to change the narrative about him as a general manager with this team, and he's taken full advantage of it. Now he brings in a quarterback that the narrative with him, oh, it's a bust, or you know what I mean? Like he wasn't the guy for Cleveland, and look at him in Carolina and LA. I think Light may see a little bit of Baker in him and vice versa, but the job that Jason Light has done bringing in these guys, like incredible. As much as it is to do with Baker and some of the highlights in the first and second round picks, I mean, think about it, Matt. The third round and beyond and the undrafted guys, that depth, another huge reason why this team's 5-1.
He's the king of day 3 picks. I mean, you just mentioned a couple of guys. Bucky Irving was a 4th round pick. Zion McCollum was a day 3 pick. Cade Otton was a day 3 pick. Jason Light, without a doubt, has to be in the running for executive of the year because it's not just one good draft class. It's been fantastic draft class after fantastic draft class, really going back 3 to 4 years now. I mean, there's a chance this current draft class with the Emeka Egbuka all the way to their last pick of Tez Johnson, who had a moment last game, could be better than last year's draft class that had Bucky Irving and Graham Barton and other big-time contributing players. That sounds insane based on what we saw with that group, but this group can be that much better. So Jason Light, without a doubt, has to be in the running for executive of the year. And you look at it, the way the wide receivers were able to step up in this game. How about the fact that they've had a makeshift offensive line for a majority of the season and are still getting it done without Luke Gedeke at right tackle for a little bit more? How about the secondary where, okay, last week Seattle, and maybe it wasn't the best defensive performance, but you don't have Jamel Dean in that game. You got to get it done with Kindle Vildor and Jacob Parrish. Next game, okay, Dean's back, but you don't have Zion McCollum. Benjamin Morrison's been out for both of those games, and they're getting it done with Vildor, a very important pick, and the secondary doing a great job. The depth has been as good as it's been since Jason Light has arrived in Tampa, and he deserves all the credit that people are giving him.
We just got to get Kindle Vildor some new cleats. This guy, I mean, gosh.
Yeah, he could have moonwalked into the end zone and just could not stay up. But they scored a touchdown anyway. So,
bro, but it was so funny too because he tried one time, fell, tried another time, fell, and then the third time he's just like, "Let me not fumble this ball. Let me just go down. We got the turnover and then move on." And shout out to look at Eddie Harada with the $2 super chat. Tampa Baker Nears meets McGee, Matty Diamonds.
What's up, Beats McGee? Yeah, he's on our show.
You guys so much, man, with the super chats. They really, really help out. Special teams. Talk to me about special teams, Matt. A little bit. I mean, it's one of those things when you don't talk about it for a week, it's good, but it got a little hairy there a couple weeks ago, didn't it?
It's like a whack-a-mole when it comes to the special teams. It's like beginning of the year, Chase McLaughlin's an issue. Then that gets figured out. But now all of a sudden they can't punt, and Riley Dixon's getting punts blocked left and right. And then the kick coverage game was really bad against the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, Seattle started half of their drives at the 45 or midfield. They did a much better job in coverage that last game, but then Chase McLaughlin misses a field goal again. Ultimately, I still have faith in Chase McLaughlin, maybe not unwavering faith the way that I think many Bucs fans did when the season began, but I still ultimately am pretty confident in him.
Right.
If they can just be able to punt the ball on a regular basis, I think ultimately they'll be fine. They did much better in kick coverage then, and Cameron Johnson is an absolute weapon as a punt returner. We've seen him provide several sparks for this team as a returner, and now he gets this great opportunity as a receiver and makes the most of it, leading the team in receiving yards. So it's really going to be a week-by-week thing. You're going to be crossing your fingers and holding on for dear life, but hopefully they can incrementally improve during the season.
Jamel Dean. I mean, what do you say about this guy, Jamel Dean? I mean, this guy it takes a pay cut. right? People were talking the two guys before the season, and you and I spoke about this. Like everybody's like, get rid of Jamel Dean, get rid of Rashad White. Where the hell would the Buccaneers be without those two guys? I mean, Jamel Dean, bro, Jamel Dean's playing. It's kind of crazy to say this, Matt. Jamel Dean's playing at an all-pro level. Like what he's doing, like that's the kind of like statistics that you bring up when you're talking about defensive player of the year candidates, which is crazy to think for a guy that took a pay cut. But dude, he's breaking up passes. He's catching the ball, which is something we haven't seen during his. He got his first career sack the other day. I mean, this is a guy, we always knew that the physical tools were there, but I mean, at the freaking floor right now, if he plays his way through 17 games, he's going to be a Pro Bowler. And if he keeps this up, Matt, and you quantify these numbers out, I know it doesn't always work like that, but you're talking about all-pro Jamel Dean this year.
And not just a sack, a strip sack as well. The Bucs weren't able to recover it, but still an awesome play.
Right.
I mean, this dude is going to get paid this offseason. I mean, what a time to take a pay cut. And part of that deal of him taking a pay cut is that he becomes a free agent this offseason. He's going to get a big payday if he continues to keep this up. And I hope it would still be in Tampa. I don't think the Bucs would be against that. I think Jamel Dean really needed a little more fuel to the fire for him. I think he kind of needed his back against the wall. And you see that with asking him to take a pay cut versus just releasing him, drafting not just Benjamin Morrison, but Jacob Parrish as well. And then seeing this extension go to Zion McCollum as well, essentially them saying he's our future at this cornerback position. And understandably so, Zion McCollum's younger than Jamel Dean. But this is the first time in a couple of years that Dean has really been pushed as a starting corner on this team. And I'm not here to say that he got complacent, but you can kind of see if you get a big contract where maybe you're not as motivated as trying to stay on a team, which Jamel Dean is currently doing right now. It's all coming together now. He's finally taking away the football. He's still one of the fastest players on this team, despite being a little bit older. As long as he could hold up from a health standpoint wise, which has kind of been the big knock on him during his whole career, I mean, we're definitely talking about a Pro Bowl. Now, all-pro would truly be something, but he's playing fantastic. He's been the best corner on this team when he's been available, and this has been a really good group. I'm very happy for Jamel. He's awesome to talk to in the locker room. He's had some very funny moments as well that you've captured post-game and stuff like that. So, yeah, keep it rocking and rolling.
Appreciate it, Bake. Like, he's you know what it is? Like, he's such a nice guy. I saw him at the airport last year. He goes, yo, and I'm like, what's up, bro? And I told him about what is it? Oh, like crap, what do you call it? The TSA pre-check. I was like, hey man, you know about TSA pre-check? He's like, no. And I'm like, dude, you gotta get that. I was like, you're lucky. Like, I was like, you gotta get that. Like, you need to go to the front of the line and like get away from people. He goes, no, it's not that bad. I'm like, yeah, you say that now. But I said, when you have 50 Bucs fans over here, he's like, I didn't think about that. I'm like, dude, you're on the Bucs.
Right.
Dude,
yeah. You're a starting player. You're a Super Bowl champion with the Bucs.
Yeah. He's such a nice guy, man. He really is. But I think about it too. Like, you know, he had an opportunity to leave a couple of years ago, Matt, right? And I think he took it. And remember, it was after that playoff game that he didn't play. He only played special teams. And everybody was like, oh, he wasn't able to run backwards. Like he was all jacked up. And people were saying, oh, the relationship with Todd Bowles was breaking down and it wasn't good. And I literally saw them walk off the field together. Like, you don't do that if you don't get along with the guy, right? Like, they were literally walking pretty much arm in arm. I go, there was obviously something wrong with the guy, and he came back, which surprised a lot of people. Do you think he would? I mean, obviously he's going to get paid, but I feel like at that time he could have, splashed the money. He could have broke the bank. I think if he gets a decent offer from the Buccaneers, I think he realizes, hey, this is the team that accentuates my skills the most.
Oh, yeah. I think the door is certainly open for him to come back to Tampa. I think the difference the last time he was a free agent is that the Bucs pretty much said, all right, go see what your market is worth, and then we'll talk about either matching it, whatever the case may be. And the projections, I think, were a little bit higher than what teams were actually offering Jamel Dean. So then it made more sense for him to stay in Tampa. Of course, the no state income tax and everything like that plays a factor. This time around, though, I mean, you see what Carlton Davis got paid with the Patriots after spending a season with Detroit, and obviously Jamel Dean and Carlton are pretty close. If you go that route, I think with the way that Dean is playing specifically this year, teams are going to want to go and pay for a guy like that. Teams will pay for a cornerback too to come in and either still be your CB2 or be your CB1 as well. I mean, we've seen with the Bucs, if they want their guy who's currently on the team, they'll be able to keep him. And Dean isn't wired like everybody else, as you kind of just talked about, where he probably would be more inclined to maybe take slightly less money, but to stay in Tampa. The door's definitely open. I can't sit here and guarantee that he's going to be back. I wouldn't be shocked if he's back in Tampa, but it also wouldn't surprise me if he got paid somewhere else too.
What do you think about a guy like Rachaad White?
Rachaad White, to me, is such a compelling case because we've seen a resurgence and a rise in the importance of the running back position, and I think that's great. I still think a lot of teams overall, they'll have their top guy, but the second running back is also very important. I think if there is a team that is either a playoff contender or is on the cusp and they need a true RB1, I think Rachaad White's going to that team if the money is right and everything like that. And I think a good example is how Javonte Williams went to the Dallas Cowboys this year. And I know like the Cowboys are kind of all over the place, but they were a really good offense that didn't have an RB1. Now they have an RB1. I look at a team like the Chiefs who just go to the Super Bowl every single year. If they wanted to elevate their offense a little bit more, I think Rachaad White would be a perfect guy to bring in there for next season, depending on what's up with Pacheco and Kareem Hunt and guys like that. And Rachaad White is from Kansas City as well, so it would make even that much more sense. Now, if there's not that right situation of going in and being the true blue RB1 on that team, maybe it's because Rachaad wants to win. He's got a great relationship with Bucky Irving. If the Bucs say, all right, we'll up the ante a little bit more, he gets a reasonable contract that's obviously more money than what he got on his rookie deal, I can see him coming back as well. I honestly think it's 50-50 right now with Rachaad White because he's shown he can be a starting running back, taking over for Bucky Irving these past couple of games, but at the same time, he wants to win. So it's truly dependent on what teams are interested in him this offseason.
All right, before I let you go, man, I got to ask you about your Jets. What are they going to win a game this year? What's going? And Aaron Glenn, is this Aaron Glenn's only season with the Jets?
It might be. I didn't think that. I didn't think that at first. But and first of all, the Jets invent new ways of misery. It's truly incredible. -10 passing yards in London, the lowest amount of passing yards they've ever had. But to me, it's not just like the team is losing and Aaron Glenn's not figuring it out. It's what the hell are you doing at the end of the first half when you run the fake punt and you get it, and then you just stop and say, all right, we're not going to do anything anymore. And then at the end of the game, you're right on the cusp of field goal range. You have at that point, you had -1 passing yards. Just run it a couple more times and then take your luck with kicking a field goal with Nick Folk, who had hit a 58-yarder on the season. But the biggest thing to me, and that's a detriment, is Aaron Glenn gets asked after the game, are you considering a quarterback change? And he goes, what kind of question is that? Come on, man. The way that he's so condescending to the media, and I know we see it a little bit more on the media side than maybe how
I get it, though. I get it.
But to act like you're an idiot for asking a question like that, when your quarterback just threw for -10 yards, you can't be combative when you're 0-6, and nobody was expecting the Jets to make the playoffs, but you're 0-6. Nothing is going right. You've been non-competitive in pretty much 5 out of the 7 games they played, or 4 out of the 6 games they've played, they've been non-competitive. They were in that game against Denver and can't move the ball offensively. The way that he's so combative in the press conferences for a team that has yet to win a football game, you got to be a little more reasonable and humbled. So I don't know. I don't think they'll go winless. I think they can, because they do play Carolina, who's good at home, but that game's in New York or New Jersey. I think they play the Browns as well. So, there are some winnable games. It's been ugly, though. It's been really ugly. The team hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years. They're one of the worst franchises in all of sports. And no one will ever be happy when they're watching the New York Jets, unless you're betting against them. So,
I mean, I find it fascinating that you would take a job in the biggest media market in the world and then get surprised when people ask you tough questions.
And he played there.
I mean, it comes with the territory, right? Like, I mean, you got to know, like, you can't be surprised. And listen, for the most part, like, they're not even like really asking really those questions they're not painting him into a corner. This isn't coming out of nowhere. Like, they're asking the questions that everybody else wants to know the answers to. Like, you're 0-6. I mean, you look at some of these other teams in the first year, and I know their rosters could be better. Talking about teams like New England, right? Like Liam Cohen with Jacksonville. I understand that, but man, people just want to see progress. People want to see good decisions. People want to see, balanced emotions at times. Or you could say whatever you want about the stoicism of a guy like Todd Bowles, but man, when things go bad, he's not freaking out. When things go great, he's not running up and down the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that to me, as much as everybody wants certain coaches to be more animated, I think the best guys are more even keel and just kind of they ride the wave a little bit, because if you're a team that's bad and you look at your coach and he's freaking out, then how the hell are you supposed to stay calm? You're the guys that are going on the field that have to execute.
Yeah, it's fair. I think there's certain moments where you kind of like when a coach is amped up and stuff like that. But the true problem with the Jets is that they have some star power, no doubt about it, but they don't have a lot of talent after some big name guys like Garrett Wilson, who's now injured. Now they have no one to throw to at wide receiver. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Quinn Williams. That's about it. There's like no depth or anything after that. So to me, the talent is probably the biggest issue.
Breaking news: Wayne Corbett is coming back, and he will be playing in the slot for the Jets.
Local hero.
Yeah, baby. Hofstra Zone. Matty4_ Matera. Make sure you check him out. PewterReport.com, at Pewter Report. Scott Reynolds, Matt, and the entire crew over there. Matt, always appreciate the time, my friend, and enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Jay. You're the man.
Thank you, buddy. Always a great time with our pal Matt Matera from Pewter Report. Before we get to our guy Jim Louk, the voice of our USF Bulls, I want to tell you guys real quick about our friends over at everhealth.org. Or that's what the website is, everhealth.org. Our partners here on the program doing such a great job helping everybody in the Pinellas County area. 17 different locations from the cradle to the grave. They help everybody. And the EverHealth Institute as well. They have a trade school there that can get you that profession. If you're looking for something and you want to be able to help people, right? Pharmacy tech, medical tech. It's such an incredible place to go. And I went over there and my jaw the entire time. I was amazed. And for somebody like myself who went to trade school, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, to help put me in my position to be a broadcaster, I'm all about it. I didn't go to a 4-year school. I went to the trade school. I gave it everything I had, and then it landed me at WDAE, and then the rest, as they say, is history. So the same thing when you go to a place like EverHealth, you can go to school there, and then you can work there, or you can work at one of the other local medical facilities here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. Like, it's really, really cool. They stress to me, Jay, we're not the last resort, we're the first resort. A sliding scale for the uninsured. They take all kinds of insurance. And I know nowadays it's tough to trust the medical professionals, if you have bad experiences. everhealth.org. Just go check out the website. There's so many incredible services there. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. And then, of course, our original partner, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, for all your residential and commercial needs. 813-244-0956. Our guy commented a little while ago. Where it was in there somewhere. Man, I can't find it. All right, it was there. I know our guy, Honest Hammer, our guy Russ was paying attention. He was watching before. I wanted to show him some love because he's a Tampa Bay sports fan just like you. And the big thing as well, when you're working with a company like Honest Hammer Custom Builders, you're doing these renovations to your bathroom, to your kitchen. You have a plot of land, you're looking for a new build. You want to be able to work with people you can trust. And that's why I went to the job site and talked to Russ and talked to some of the workers that he was there with, and the way that he speaks to them, and the way that they work together. It's a big commitment financially, right? And you're making a change to your home, and a lot of times that's the home that you're going to be in for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So you want to feel comfortable with the people that are working on your home, and you want to be able to trust them. You hear a lot of those horror stories out there. There he is right there. Our guy, Jason Light, is the GOAT. Honest Hammer, you, my friend, are the GOAT. So give them a shout today, 0956. He is a fantastic dude, just the entire organization there, and a big-time Tampa Bay sports fan just like yourself. 813-244-0956. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Recher podcast and get yourself a discount. You want to be able to work with people that you trust. Our guy, Honest Hammer, Russ, and the crew. All right, let's bring him in. He is the voice of our Tampa Bay or our USF Bulls. You got to flip the camera, Jim.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Let's see. How about that?
Yeah, we got a winner. There he is. The great Jim Louk, the voice of the USF Bulls. Our home for all Tampa Bay sports right here, the USF Bulls. Jim, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Not much. Been an odd week.
And Jim, congratulations, man. You made the big announcement yesterday that this is going to be your last football season. It's going to be weird to be listening to a broadcast without you. What went into that decision, calling it quits after all this time? And then just tell me about the response you've gotten. Because I actually, before I went to bed last night, I went back on Twitter and I was just blown away with the number of views that the video got, the number of likes, and all the incredible messages that you got.
Well, it's not an easy decision, obviously, and I'm very much aware that on a professional level, this is a really dumb time to do this. I mean, there's so exciting things going on, and I know I'm not going to be front and center for some really cool things now in the next couple of years at South Florida Athletics. But on a personal level, it is the right time. I think when you do something for this long, no matter how great it is, you do get to the point where you start thinking, well, what have I not done in my life that I want to do? Right. And who in my life is not getting the proper attention and time from me? And what do I do about that? And it makes it a much easier decision, I think, when you think about it on those terms. So I'd been considering it for a while, and I actually told the department last summer, but one thing led to another. Department had some changes, and the time wasn't quite right to make it public until this week. It has been very gratifying. I heard from a lot of people that I hadn't heard from in a long time, so that was fun. A lot of the guys, young broadcasters that I hope I had a chance to help on their way up, I heard from in the last 24 to 48 hours, and that's very gratifying. So not an easy decision, but one that I'm very much at peace with.
Yeah, Jim, and I can't thank you enough for what you've done for my career. The first person to give me an opportunity to do play-by-play, something that I've always wanted to do since I was a little kid. And, you and I we did a broadcast together, man, which was really cool on the USF Bulls Unlimited, which was really, really cool. And then to work with you on the TV broadcast, it's always a pleasure. And, to see that Jim Lighthall is the guy taking over, a guy that you and I know really well, and we just always enjoy being around. He's another guy, like every time, we're around, and that USF crew that you guys have there in the booth. I mean, just it's got to feel good to know that you're leaving it in good hands.
Well, I told Jim when I told him what I was going to do, I said I was all ready to fight for you. I had the plan, and then I was going to be demonstrative about it. And before I could, they all said, "What do you think about Jim Lighthall taking over?" Oh, fine. Okay. He'll be terrific. He's one of those guys, and Jay, because you were with us for a while on those broadcasts. The truth of it is, there's a million guys out there that sound good on the air. A million guys, a million women. It's not hard to find one. What I always tried to find in bringing people into USF, yes, people that sounded good on the air, but also people that were willing to work for the broadcast instead of for themselves, and trying to do little things to make the other people on the broadcast sound good. unselfish broadcasters. And Jim is one of those. And that's why I'm so happy that he's going to take over. I know the games will sound great on the air. That's a given with him. But I also know the things that the general public is not going to see, the things that go on in that booth, the things that go on in terms of preparation are just going to be absolute top notch. So it's a great position to be in.
Yeah, we know he does a great job on the men's basketball side with our pal Joey Johnson as well. So it's a real seamless transition. You're right. He's very prepared and very exciting for Jim, no doubt. And an exciting football season to send you out on, my friend. And, I was just listening to Alex Golish's press conference a little while ago. I didn't even think they played all that great against North Texas. You look to score over 60 points. It's just been an incredible ride so far this season. What do you make of the team so far as they get ready for a big homecoming game Saturday night against FAU?
Wildly talented, certainly. I think they have not played their best football, for a team that's averaging 60 points a game for the last 3 games. There's concern, obviously, over ball protection the last couple of weeks, but that kind of talent can erase some problems.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of guys that are bought into the system. The thing we talked about early in the season, the depth, I think, is really starting to show itself now. Yes, they've had pretty good luck to this point avoiding injuries, but even with that, you're starting to see some young guys starting to get some time now, both offensively and defensively, and that makes a big difference when you're 6 games in. So I'm excited for them. There's an opportunity for great things, but like anything, there's also a very small margin for error. Everybody's all pumped up about Memphis, and rightfully so, but I will tell you, Florida Atlantic is good enough to make you look silly if you're not playing your best football against them. So this Saturday's got to come first. This team knows that. They're so focused, but it has the chance to be something really special.
Jim, the whole thing with Jalen Schuler and what he did shy of the goal line, people were asking me about it because I've had Shu on the show with us here, and just he's done so many great things, and he's been such a leader for this team. And you heard it. There was a pain in Alex Golish's voice when he had to answer that question after the game. There was a pain, like, damn, that's one of the guys that we lean on. And he said that I think it was as hot as he's ever been since joining. I feel like in a weird way, Jim, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I feel like in a weird way, it could be a real positive going forward, because that is an unbelievable teaching tool and a learning lesson where you go, hey, even one of our strongest can have moments of weakness. We have to eliminate the moments of weakness. And I just feel like it's something that we probably will never see from Schuler again, but it's a great teaching tool because all Alex Golish has to do is put on the video and say, look, this is one of our leaders. We cannot act like that. I think that can have a trickle-down effect in a positive way. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, I think so. I'm always hesitant to get too critical on guys when things like that happen because you don't know what was said prior to that, and those two teams were jawing at each other all night long in the field. But it's not a good look. I mean, the replay is everywhere, and coach's reaction was certainly true to his teaching technique and what he believes in. So, yeah, I think it's one of the things that falls under the category, just like the turnovers, things to clean up. And I know they addressed it very quickly, both in the locker room after the game and during the week too. So, yeah, I don't think you'll see anything like that again. But like I said too, I know there was a lot of talking, and I'm always a little hesitant to be critical because you don't know what was going on there before that.
Yeah, that's a great point. We obviously have had a huge transition over at South Florida with Rob Higgins as the CEO of athletics. And you've known Rob for a while as well as I have. And what have you seen so far from a guy that's, so closely connected to USF? You always will be. And you and I had a great relationship with Michael Kelly, and I saw his nice words to you as well on Twitter/X yesterday. But what have you seen from Rob Higgins? And really, what's the future of this USF athletics program when you have a guy that, is he bleeds green and gold as much as anybody?
Those young guys, right? I wish I had as much energy as he does. He is involved in everything, and I'm not there on a day-to-day basis anymore, but I'm still hooked in enough to kind of know what's going on. He's going to be a great leader. He's one of those guys that has the talent to make you feel important when you talk to him. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter if you're important or not, you feel that way when you talk to him. Great connections, obviously, great love for the university, which is really important to me. I measure people in that sometimes.
Right.
And I think he's going to be just great. I think he's going to have massive challenges in this changing landscape of college athletics, but I think he's up to the task, and I think he was a very inspired choice to lead the program.
Yeah, I love it. I know there's people wondering, were they going to go outside? Were they going to stay in-house? I thought he was the perfect balance. He knew the kind of nuances of how things work at USF, but he's also had experience bringing primetime events here to the Tampa Bay area. And we know what it's about now, Jim, with the transfer portal and the NIL. It's about fundraising, man. It's about money. And to be able to do that and understand that aspect of it, I think is huge. Speaking of transfer portal, we heard, obviously Alex Golish's name is one of those names that's bandied about, and our good pal Joey Knight from the Tampa Bay Times asked them the question today about, hey, how do you deal with that type of stuff? And he says, I'm just kind of focused to do what I'm doing. I don't really worry about that. And the only people that I talk about that with is recruits. How do you think that he's handled that? Because even as much as he says that, I mean, he's got to hear something, right? Like he's got to hear, even if it's in passing, because for a guy that's doing this well and for a team that's scoring 60 points, and you see the vacancies in Oregon State and Penn State, and just it seems like a new one pops up every weekend. How do you think he's handled that and just like that whole type of thing until USF gets to a bigger conference? That may be something that we just kind of have to deal with, right?
Yeah, I listened to him today, and every coach on the planet has said those same words in response to that same question. This guy, I tend to believe it because he is so focused. He's aware, obviously, and it's only going to intensify. And ultimately, he's going to do what's right for him and for his family. And he's been so great to me and so great to this program that as much as I hope he'll be a Bull for many, many years, I also just want to see him have maximum success because he's a tremendous, tremendous guy. There's so much work to be done this season. I think he is focused on that. We'll have to see where this thing lands and what happens after that. But it's a problem you want to have. As he said today, it's a whole lot better than having a coach that's looking for a job because he's unemployed. And for South Florida to have Alex Golish, they're pretty fortunate to be in that position.
Yeah, fortunate to have him. Also fortunate to have Byron Brown. And after what we've seen the last couple of years and the growth, like mentally and physically, I mean, it's just incredible to be able to see a guy. You've seen some good quarterbacks over the years. I know there's been some ups, there's been some downs, but when you think about all the great quarterbacks, in the history of USF football, where does Byron kind of rank when it comes to some of the greats? Because there's been some good ones.
Yeah, to be determined, I think.
Right.
He's certainly in the conversation right now, but I think we got to see where he goes from here when you start thinking about Grothy and Blackwell, and I don't want to start Flowers. I'm not going to start naming names because I'm going to leave somebody out. But the thing that impresses me most about him, and we saw it in Denton last Friday night, boy, you put the ball on the ground or you throw an interception, and 99% of guys are doing one of two things. They're storming around the sideline mad or they're hanging their head. He's just going to the sideline trying to figure out the next play and how he's going to beat North Texas on the next play. He's so mentally strong. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care about mistakes, but he's just so mentally tough that, I almost think that's his best attribute, maybe even better than the physical skills sometimes.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. And when I think about the success with him and the success with the program, I think about the other sports too. I just saw something earlier today. We're less than 3 weeks away from men's basketball, women's basketball. The job Brian Hodgson has in front of, I feel like he's been here for 5 years, right? I mean, he just hit the ground running. He's really ingratiated himself. I love that he's embraced what Amir Abdur-Rahim did here. He didn't shy away from it. He didn't make light of it. He's choosing to honor it. And I feel like he's done such a good job. And then, I mean, Jose's been here forever. How excited are you for basketball season coming up as well? Because I look at it, and somebody said yesterday, it's like, man, you're looking, we could get to a point where at some point in the next couple of months, we could have 2 top 25 basketball teams as well as a damn good football team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm still going to do a few games for each team in basketball.
Good.
I mean, preseason in the conference, number 1 women's, number 2 men's. I have never seen that in my time at South Florida. That's just amazing. And, you know, in this world of college athletics where you've got new faces every year, you know, the days of student athletes spending 4 years becoming more and more rare. So coaches, even in solid programs, got to rebuild every year. And for these guys to build teams like that on the men's and women's side, really, really impressive. And I think it's going to be a great year in the Yuengling Center. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, we've seen the Tampa Bay's home for hoops. That is right. All right, so before I let you go, Jim, you mentioned other things. So what are you going to do, man, when you're not broadcasting? More bike rides, more trips to the West Coast? What are you going to be doing, man?
A lot of that. I want to travel, but travel does not include getting on the charter flight home at 3 a.m. like I did last weekend. Obviously more family time. That's a big thing. I'm going to be a granddad for the first time in February.
Mm-hmm.
Excited about that. And a lot of volunteer work too. You know what I've been doing the last couple of years, Jay? I've been volunteering at the Tampa Bay Humane Society.
Nice.
And it's just so rewarding. I work in adoptions, and to see, you know, animals get new homes and to go out with their new owners and to match them up as part of my duties there and everything. It's just really rewarding. So I want to spend a little bit more time there. And my poor wife, who has put up with this career for nearly 40 years of marriage, deserves a lot more time and attention too. So I'm looking forward to providing that.
That's awesome. Well, Jim, thank you for, first off, everything you've done for our community, for USF, for all the fans, and for me personally and professionally, man. You mean a whole heck of a lot to me, and I know you mean a lot to our people here in the Tampa Bay area. So hopefully, I saw this on Twitter last night, let's send Jim Louk off with a conference championship and a place and a berth in the college football playoff. That'd be pretty good parting gift, Jim.
Kind of the least they can do, isn't it? I mean, I don't ask for much, you know, it's just one little thing. So we'll see how it plays out. I know it'll be fun the rest of the way, no matter what.
Listen, we've had some games, buddy. We've had some rough games where we kind of look back at. I mean, you take a big exhale. That was a rough one, and I think that's what makes it more special, right, Jim? When you're playing this well, when you're this competitive, because you've seen some of the dark days, right?
Yeah, you know, people say don't get invested. You're a broadcaster, you know, play it down the line. But the truth is, when the team you're covering wins, you become more popular. You're better looking. You know, everybody thinks you're smarter. And you also get invested in the people in the program. You care about them and you hope they find success. So it's always rewarding when, regardless of sport, the team you're covering is playing well.
Beautiful. The great Jim Louk, forever the voice of our USF Bulls. Jim, thank you so much again for everything. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you Saturday night at Ray J, buddy. Thank you.
Sounds good, Jay. See you soon.
All right, buddy. The great Jim Louk, man. Unbelievable career over there at USF. And yeah, let's send him off, man. Let's send him off with a conference championship and a place in the college football playoff. Got to take care of business. Jim alluded to it right there. I know the big matchup, and there's a lot of people talking about College Game Day, possibly in Memphis for that matchup in a couple of weeks against the Bulls. But USF's got to take care of business. Saturday night, the homecoming matchup against FAU. If they can do that, all eyes there in Memphis, Tennessee. regardless of game day is there or not. Two of the best teams in the American, if not the two best, and then it'll be them. Obviously, a matchup with Navy coming up in a couple of weeks too. It's fun, man. This is what you want. You want your college football team to be competitive, and as we just talked about a couple of weeks, we've got some basketball coming too. I cannot wait to spend a boatload of time at the Yingling Center to watch our men and women, as you heard Jim say there, number 1 in the conference preseason for the women, number 2 for the men. Think about that. Number 2 for the men with a coach. It's his first year. It's his first year. Jose, we get it. He's been there. He's the OG of USF athletics. But Coach Brian Hodgson, this is year 1 for this guy. Like, that's incredible, man. I cannot wait. I'm just unbelievable, man. And I've been saying this for the last year or two. Listen, now's the time. Get on board with the green and gold. Get on board, man. Now's the time. You got Rob Higgins there. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. All right, before we wrap things up today, I want to talk about Blake Snell. Okay? Did you watch the games last night? If you watched the MLB playoff action last night, a couple of good games. Well, not the first one. Seattle wins 10-3 to take a 2-0 lead in that one. Seattle just looks like a team that was ready to go, right? They jumped right off of the series against Detroit. Toronto was. That's what happens sometimes in these playoff series. You think, oh, you got more time. It's the rest versus rust factor. I mean, you look at what Seattle's been able to do after that long 14, 15 inning game against the Detroit Tigers. Oh, they're going to be tired. I remember on the broadcast, AJ Pierzynski and Adam Wainwright were talking about, oh, yeah, you know who's loving this? The Toronto Blue Jays. Well, really? Really? I don't know, buddy. Because when you watch this game last night, 10-3, Seattle jumps right out to it. 3-run lead on a 3-run ding-dong from Julio Rodriguez. Josh Naylor had 3 hits. We saw what Randy Arozarena has been able to do. And I just look at their lineup. When you have a guy like J.P. Crawford that's been there a while, Victor Robles, I know he's not the greatest hitter, but he's a fantastic defender. I like what their outfield's like. I like what their infield's just like settled in nice. Josh Naylor is built for the playoffs. He's a baseball player. When you look at him, you're like, what sport do you play? You're a baseball guy. Old school. I've always been a Jorge Polanco fan. J.P. Crawford's been there forever. Eugenio Suarez, the guy they picked up at the trade deadline that's been there and had some success in the Pacific Northwest. And then you have the boppers. You have Kyle Raleigh, and in my mind, a guy that could be the best player in the entire series with, Julio Rodriguez. They're going to need some of these other guys to step up. Vlad goes over 3 last night. Barger 0 for 4 last night. You're going to need these other guys to be able to step up, and not having a guy like Bo Bichette, is this the series where it comes back to bite him? We shall see. Dodgers win a thrilling game, 2-1 last night. What a game. What a game to see it at the end. Did you see that play from center field all the way home? I mean, unbelievable grab. You don't see that very often. But you get down to the end, they go to Roki Sasaki in the last inning, and then they flip and they go to Blake Trine, and he ends up getting the final out, striking out Bryce Terang, the cleanup hitter, 0 for 4 on the night. You look at how many hits they had. It wasn't many. It wasn't many hits for those guys last night. They had 2. One of them, Jake Bowers. Remember Jake Bowers? Yeah. But they're going to need more from Churio and Yelich, and can't do that. But the reason why they weren't hitting the ball that well is because of Blake Snell. 8 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 10 strikeouts for our guy Blake Snell. And I remember years ago talking to Blake Snell. And if you guys remember, we used to do a show called Bats and Brews back in the day. And it was kind of like what we do with Sticks and Stools. One of the situations where it's like more of a fun broadcast. It wasn't really X's and O's, things like that. But one day I was going to interview Blake Snell, and he was a little late, and he came by, and he was a little upset. And he just felt like he was being, like, people didn't understand him here. So you got to understand, people on the West Coast are a little different, right? People from the Pacific Northwest, it's a different ball game out there, man, literally and figuratively. It's not the same. Trust me, as somebody like myself that grew up in New York, the fast everything's flying around. Coming to Tampa where it's a lot more subdued. I've gone to Key West, which is even more, right? Then you go to the Pacific Northwest. It's just a different, it's funny. We live in this one country, but you see so many different types of people and so many different walks of life, and everything's at different paces and different speeds, right? New York is the fastest it's going to get. Pacific Northwest, it's a lot slower, right? And for a while there, I think there was a misconception about Blake Snell that he didn't care, that he didn't work hard. And I think it wore on him a little bit. Because remember, he got sent down, and then they called him back up. And I just remember having a conversation with Blake about that. And he was just talking about being misunderstood. He's like, dude, I try. He's like, I'm out here busting my ass. Like, these people think I don't try. And when we say these people, I don't want to talk about who specifically he was talking about. But he's just like, you don't know how hard it is to be a pitcher in the big leagues. He's like, dude, I'm giving it everything I have. I'm working. I'm watching tape. I'm doing extra bullpens. I'm staying after. I'm showing up early. And I was just like, man, you just got to stay true to yourself. And it's all going to work out in the end. And when you look at what he was able to do last night and the happiness that he was able to enjoy and just the look on his face, like, you just feel good for a guy like Blake. And unfortunately, what his tenure with the Tampa Bay Rays is going to be defined by is him pitching in the World Series and Kevin Cash taking him out. And it sucks because I think in a certain way, unless the Rays win, that may be how a lot of people look at Kevin Cash's tenure too. Think about it. Some people still can't get over that shit. They still talk about it when they don't like Kevin Cash. But to see a guy like Blake Snell go out there last night, he threw a no-hitter. Was it last year or the year before? I'm just happy for Blake. I'm happy that he's a guy that's been able to go out there and to be able to really find himself and to be able to enjoy a nice career. Because that's, a lot of it has to do with your situation. A lot of it has to do with where you're at. And when you think of Blake Snell, think about Baker Mayfield. Situations are everything. It's not just about you. There's a lot of factors that go into a guy being successful in the athletic field. It's not just about you. Yeah, you're the main component. You're the main character in this entire story, but you got to be able to go out there and have support. Other people have to do their job as well. Your coaches have to put you in a position to succeed. And I think we're at a spot right now where Blake Snell is he's in the perfect spot. I mean, I get it. He's with the Dodgers, right? But he was pitching game 1 at the NLCS. It wasn't Ohtani. It wasn't Yamamoto. It wasn't Glasnow. It wasn't Sasaki. It was Blake Snell, and he balled the hell out. And I feel good for Blake. I'm happy for him. He was always great to me, and to see a guy be able to go out there and to do his thing, like, I think there was a lot of people here in the Tampa Bay area that was, I think they were happy for Blake, because you really can't fault him what he did here. Can't. He gave it everything he had, and then he got traded like everybody else. And that sucks. And it does. And I really hope that the next version of our Tampa Bay Rays, we spend less time on players that shouldn't have been traded away. Because how nice would it have been if Blake Snell was a guy that finished his career with the Tampa Bay Rays, helped them win a World Series? That's what I want. I don't know how long that's going to take for the Rays. It sucks, though. That's part of the reason it sucks when you watch these games and, it's very few and far between when it comes to, well, I guess for hockey is a little different because you're dealing with that salary cap. And I know the salary cap has a lot to do with it. But with that being said, I mean, you're watching these postseason games and you're looking at Blake Snell and you're looking at Tyler Glasnow and you're looking at Randy Arozarena. And it's just like, if the Tampa Bay Rays were able to keep this talent over the last 10 years, how good would this team really be? Think about that. Be able to keep all these guys, keep all these pitchers, what that rotation would look like, what the position players would look like. Hopefully we don't have to have this conversation for much longer, because you know who we don't have to have that conversation about? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Find a way. And another reason why we got to be so thankful for a guy like Jason Licht, because he finds a way to keep these guys here. He drafts and develops well. And all we can do is hope that the Rays and the Lightning do the same exact thing. All right, guys, a big thank you to everybody that joined us on the program today, including our super chats. Chan, Meets McGee, and Eddie Harada. Can't do this without the super chats. And, of course, our partners, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, and Evra Health. We have our Evra Health injury report on Thursday at 12:30 with Dr. Rodriguez. You don't want to miss that. Our most popular segment here on the program. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Remember, we have the Beckles and Recher podcast tomorrow right here on my YouTube channel. USF homecoming Saturday night. Get your tickets. Go usfbulls.com. Go check them out right now. Go get tickets. Come on, support the green and gold. Lightning back in action tonight against the Washington Capitals. Our guy Eric Rowanson will join us at 1 o'clock mañana, so you don't want to miss that one. Eddie and Cena Thursday at 1:30. A big thank you to our guests today, the voice of our USF Bulls, Jim Louk, and, of course, Matt Matera from Pewter Report. Go usfbulls.com, pewterreport.com. Always support our friends that join us here on the program. Ooh. All right, guys. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the support. We're back here tomorrow at noon. You better be here. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the